You're a startup founder. You think your product is amazing and feel like more people should be buying, but the road is long and slow. It feels like you're stuck. There's always one thing I ask startup founders. Have you talked to your customers? They almost always say, heck yes, we talk to our customers all the time. But what I find is they're either selling or trying to improve their product. These are not customer-focused conversations. If we can get curious about our customers, then we can uncover critical insights that will help us build to the next round. I'm Anna Firmenov, and welcome to Building with Buyers, a show about startup growth where I'll explore how customers help startups build to the next round.
Teryn, great to see you.
Thank you.
Teryn Thomas is founder and CEO at EdLight. This is a bit of a special episode. I'm doing a bit of my own customer research with this unique episode. And I wish I could do more. I'll start to do more of these because I think that this is like basically the talk, walk the walk, however you say it. But I think this is so important for any business, right? Talk to people that worked with you, learn more about how that experience was. So Teryn, thank you for joining me. EdLight is your AI math co-teacher. It helps teachers know which students need more support and how to actually provide that support. And we worked on this together, Teryn.
Yes, we did.
Remember? We did,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Automatically analyzes handwritten student math work, showing the student gaps with the recommended next steps that the teacher can then use for instruction. So seed funded, and I worked with the EdLight team for almost half a year on the customer insights roadmap. So that included customer research, positioning, messaging, overall go-to-market strategy, and then execution and advising and helping with the website and social channels and sales emails and conference materials, all of the stuff. And so let's just chat. Like, how's it going since we last spoke? How's EdLight doing? Like, what's changed? What hasn't? Tell me more.
So I've had a couple of pretty significant changes since we met. All of them are your fault, so that's good.
My
I
fault?
would say
That sounds scary. But yes, go ahead.
But yeah, I think the first thing is when we were connecting, I don't think I had yet gotten to the place as like a leader in my journey where I had a sense of why it was important to have consistent positioning and consistent messaging across the organization. Like I was like, no, like ideally I want my users to feel like they not cookie cutting, right? And I think that was like my big fear. I was like, oh, I don't want us to feel like it's a cookie cutter. I really wanted them to know that like I'm listening to them specifically. But I think the con of doing that is that then nobody really knows what you do. And so I think as a result of our work, I got really clear about like, well, I need to figure out what is resonating with my users, what is the messages that are actually sticking. And then like when I have some of momentum, then I can tweak it a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. But what I was doing before was just like whole scale changing it based off of who I was talking to, which I think just led to a lot of confusion, not only externally, but maybe even more importantly, internally, because then the people on my team didn't know how to replicate the message consistently across our social media, our conferences, et cetera. And so then we weren't really clear about like what and when we were saying something, like what made it work. And so it just felt like a constant guessing game. And I'd say that that was a pretty significant shift. The other thing that's been on my mind a lot lately has been just like taking sales and owning it myself. So I have a pretty amazing team and my faith in them was like, great, like I don't enjoy doing sales. This part of my team really enjoys doing sales. I will let them do it. But like how many times have I read or heard a podcast that's been talking about founder-led sales? But I think I was just scared, to be honest. Scared of failing, scared of what if I'm the reason why our product isn't selling? And like I need to allow people who are potentially better at that to do it. But since we had started working together, I've started to actually build out our sales pipeline to have specialists of each section. So like we have a person on our team who's really, really strong at generation lead. And like, that's all I want them to do. I'm really, really strong at discovery and like building that rapport. So like, that's all that I focus on. And then customer success is owned by another member of our team. and that's all they're focusing on. And that allows me to have my eyes across the entire organization in regards to that positioning, in regards to like, wait, is that really an objection? Or like, now I can anticipate what objections are going to come at what points because I'm consistently saying the same thing. And so I know what my users are going to say back. And I think that's been really significant for us. In the months of April and May, we had about a 4-time increase in our sales. And I 100% attribute it to those learnings that I had with you across our team.
Wow, great to hear. Also interesting because I thought that you were very much selling. Like when we were working together, I thought that you were doing a lot of that sales, but maybe I just didn't know. Maybe you were like kind of there, kind of not, but really relying on the sales folks, right? To do it.
Yeah, I was present, but I was not the like driver. And I think that like shifting from, okay, let me give you feedback on why this worked or didn't work to like, let me actually do it myself so I understand why something works and doesn't work was a big deal for me. Yeah, I was always there, but not in the same way of like, no, like I am the person who's going to own it from the minute the first meeting is booked all the way till the sale has been completed and we're past proposal and now it's a project plan stage. And that has allowed me to understand so much more deeply our pain points that we're able to address. And then like which messages are sticking and which ones don't, and like why, and like where I can anticipate different points in the user journey, like when they're connecting with that light.
What have you found about your best customers, like the April, May deals that closed? Has anything changed since we worked together? Do they look different? Are these schools, school districts looking different from before, or it's pretty much the same message, like anything that you guys have iterated on? I'm just curious.
Yeah, probably would say that they look different because I stopped trying to meet the needs of everyone and started in my discovery listening specifically for do they have these certain things in place? And so I think as a result, what we are expecting of our partners has now become like a mutual, I call it a needs assessment, but it's like mutual. It's not only do I want them to like emulate, but I have to make sure that they have certain things in place because if they don't have those things in place, they're not going to actually see the magic of emulate. And so I think as a result of that, our users now are all focusing on the same problem. So like, were they always focusing on math? Yes. But were they always focusing on making sure that they had a really clear way of checking for understanding at pivotal points throughout a lesson? No, because I wasn't asking those types of questions before, right? And so I think that that has really shifted. I also think knowing how big of a pain point it is on a scale from 1 to 5, how much pain are you in is a very significant conversation because if you're trying to convince someone that your product can help change their trajectory of student outcomes, but they're only experiencing the pain point that you solve for at like a level 1 or a level 2, it just is like an uphill battle throughout that entire partnership. And it feels like now, because we're like really wanting to only connect with people who are experiencing the pain point we solve for at like a 4 or a 5, that there's no tension in terms of renewal conversations or fears of what people are going to say because I feel good about what I'm selling because I know I'm actually solving for a pain point that's pretty significant for that community. And so I think that's pretty different.
Yeah. Wow, you've learned so much. I think that it's probably got like you've just accelerated the trajectory of your learnings because you're now so involved in the sales process. I think that's probably part of it, right? And it's not just like, oh, I'm listening to what other people have to say, right? That's like third party information. It's you. You hear it. And I think as a founder, like that's really important. So I am totally on board with that. What would you say? This is me going back to my customer research conversations with which I am thick in and doing these days, right? So, but now it pertains to me. So this is fun. What would you say was like going on? How were you feeling before we started working together? Like what was happening? Can you think back to that time before we started working together and the things that you were thinking about? I think you mentioned a bit of it. It's like, I'm trying to make this work for everyone and be personalizing, but that's hard, right? Part of it is also like you want to bring your conversation. Other people want to have their conversation, but you need to, as a salesperson, and I know this because I also do sales as part of my business, you need to bring your conversation to the table. Otherwise, it can go in all different directions, right? So tell me what you were feeling before we started working together.
Yeah. I appreciate that you're asking like what I was feeling versus what I was doing, because I do think like I was feeling really insecure. I was like, hey, we're obviously hitting some type of a roadblock, but I can't tell if the roadblock is our marketing and like our ability to explain what we're doing. Is it our product that isn't quite ready yet? And like, I think as a founder, when you have that lack of certainty across like so many different, is it this or could it be this or like causal points, you feel not only confused, but a little bit like pessimistic, like unsure of like where is the road going to lead me next. And so I think that's a lot of how I was feeling, just wanting to deeply figure it out because I'm a person who's always in my life typically been able to solve any challenge and been like, there's just like something I can't figure out within sales, like as a startup founder. And that was really frustrating. And I think there were periods of time when we met that I felt resistant because I was like, no, like that can't be it. But it was really kind of like the right time for us as an organization to really take a couple steps back and go, what are we trying to actually say that we're doing? And like, is that what we're doing? Are we able to follow through on that? So yeah, I guess that's how I was feeling before.
Hey, it's Anna, host of Building with Buyers. I started the show because I found that customers play such an important role in business growth, but they're often overlooked. We're so focused on net new. But the thing that makes you unique is not your product. There are so many companies solving the same problem, and they have customers too. The thing that makes you unique is your superfan customers. That's your moat. Most positioning and messaging is guesswork. I'm a customer insights and strategy advisor, and I help my clients by interviewing their customer superfans and translating those insights into clear and compelling positioning and messaging that specific people care about. So you get deeper engagement with customers and prospects, increased inbound to demos, better sales conversations, increased word of mouth, and closed deals. If you're done guessing, stumbling along, and want to be more customer obsessed, reach out. I'd love to help. And now back to the episode.
Yeah. And so I think there's something to be said around, we know that there's some roadblock. We're feeling it. It's not running smoothly. Things should be running smoothly. We think that we're targeting the right people and we're solving a big problem and we've got a good product, but it's just not, something's broken, right? So where is it coming from? And my stance is always go to your customers. And you had customers, you had a whole slew of them, right? It's just that I remember we were kind of shifting how we were talking about, like, as you were building this product, it was kind of shifting and pivoting a bit. And it's like, well, how do we now introduce it in this new form that it's in and talk about this? You know, it's not just a platform that you upload homework to and then you get some kind of insights. This is your co-teacher. That's a very strong statement. It's like somebody that is helping you. It's not a person, but it's a co-teacher, and they're helping you to recommend the next steps for you to take. Like, how amazing is that? So I just remember being like, wow, this is completely different. We need to tell people, we need to use the right wording, the right phrasing so people understand and have it be your conversation. And so why did you go with me? I'm just curious because there's a ton of other people out there. What was it about me that...
Your newsletters.
Was it Selena?
It was Selena. Yes. I mean, it was 95% Selena, but also I think it was really like the newsletters. We had started to build trust and rapport with you before you even knew we existed because we had subscribed to your newsletters and had found them useful. And like, we found ourselves whenever we had a challenge, even before we really started to connect, being like, oh, well, like, let's check Anna's like resources to see if she has anything on that. Oh, she does. Great. And so then by the time we were at the decision point, we were talking between you and another organization. We just had the trust and the faith already kind of like built into the relationship, even though we hadn't really met you in that way. And I think that made us feel like the commitments that you were going to make to us were like things that you were going to follow through because we had seen the evidence of like, Anna knows what she's doing because she's obviously thought through all of these different pieces because we always pull her resources from the newsletters. And like, that's one of the things we had a lot of conversations about in our like marketing Slack channel.
All right. Teryn, dang it, because I stopped my newsletter.
Did you? No.
I did. I stopped it. I paused. I put it on pause.
I thought that you stopped it, but then I was like, maybe I just like moved it somewhere.
I did. It was my monthly newsletter. And I was like, listen, I'm a content creator, but something's got to give here. Like I'm doing the podcast, I'm doing the LinkedIn posting, right? I was doing the newsletter. And although it was a monthly newsletter, that I still put so much heart into it, right?
You did.
And so I paused it. And so I was at this party and I saw a friend and she's like, what happened to your newsletters? And she's not even in my target audience. She just likes to read my newsletter. And now you say this and it's like, wait a second, I need to bring back my newsletter. Dang it, Teryn. All right. But that's really helpful because that's what I do the content for. It's to be helpful. It's to build that trust. And it actually did for you guys.
And then before you even know you needed it, right? Like we didn't know we needed a you when we were looking at those different pieces. We just got to that collective point and then we were like, okay, let's look to all of the sources that we have. We got a referral from a friend of what they were using. And then we were like, well, we've been stealing all of the stuff from her newsletter. We should at least hang her up and see. Yeah.
It's not stealing if I share it freely, which
true.
I do. That's so funny. So now that we've worked together, what would you say is like the standout moment for you? Was there any moment that I know that we went through, it was kind of a journey, right? And you mentioned this earlier in the episode where you're like, is that really it? I don't know. I don't know if that's really like, is it really the way that we talk about ourselves and everywhere that we show up online, offline? But then there was like a shift and you're like, yeah, that's it. We got to do this and we got to be consistent about it. So tell me more about like any standout moments for you.
I can't wait to see your face when I say this. So remember when you started doing our customer interviews for us and we were like, can you help us to figure out like why those customers like just didn't, like they fell out of the sales cycle? And after you spoke with a few different ones on our behalf, you were like, hey, they just said they forgot about you. And I had been telling myself all of these stories about like, they find me irritating. My consistent follow-up is probably like overwhelming. And so I had stopped reaching out to people. I was like, I can't do 10 touch points. That sounds horrible. And then you shared that. And I like went back and I looked through all of the transcriptions of the conversations that you had with our customers who we didn't close with. And I was like, holy moly, duh. Of course, school leaders are so busy that just remembering EdLight from that like one or two conversations we had is like not at the top of their priority. And that's actually my job. My job is to make sure that we stay enough in their reach that like when they have that challenge that like we come to mind. And so since then, I have been pushing my team to like only get hard no's. I'm like, you haven't reached out enough until there's been like a hard, please stop contacting me. And I think that was an epiphany moment for me. Like everything changed after I made that decision because then I knew when people said no, but like it was just an actual clear no, which honestly felt really nice versus being like, oh, we missed them. Oh, we missed them. And not really ever being clear what like about our messaging didn't click when in fact what was happening was that like they have full-time jobs that are not to purchase products. And like, it is my responsibility to be at the forefront of their mind and to keep us with a regular tempo, whether that is through a newsletter or for us, that's sending them like value asset stuff as well. And I think that changed the entire way that our team was functioning. Then we started competing to see who could get the hard nose first. And that was really fun.
I love that you're making this like into a game. I just spoke to a sales expert yesterday and he said the same thing. He's like, you want to get to the no. You want to almost feel like you're annoying. All you're trying to do is bucket people. Are they still in process to maybe work with you or is it a hard no? And you want to get to the no because then you can focus on others, right? You don't want to waste your time. So I love that. I love that you're gamifying it. And that is actually pretty funny because I did have of course, customer interviews, the super fan customers and having prospect interviews too, right? And having the conversations with the closed loss, very interesting. Like, why? Because just forgot, like they never reached out. Oh my gosh, then we need to fix that, right?
Exactly.
So I love that so much. Final question is, what would you say has been the impact of our working together? If you just kind of think through our time together and all the things that we worked on that I mentioned at the start of the episode, impact could be anything. It could be financial, it could be operational, it could be organizational, it could be mindset, culture stuff. There's a lot of ways to talk about impact. I'm just curious how you see it.
Yeah. I would say my gut reaction to that question is that it's about confidence in the way that I'm approaching the work. There's just so many resources out in the world. And I think that it can get really easy to be flooded and almost okay, I read this and it said slightly go this way and I read that. And I think that after you and I had a couple of rounds of me being I don't know. And then we would push through and I would try the thing. I don't know. I think it just unlocked this space in me of I've got to leave it all out on the floor. And so that means I have to make sure that I've done everything within my control. And that for me has been a confidence thing. And it's been, even when I haven't trusted myself, I trust you enough as an expert to say, okay, I'm going to at least give this a shot, see it all the way through, really, really, really try. And then if it ends up that wasn't the best marketing strategy, okay, fine. But at least I didn't haphazardly try a whole bunch of things only halfway and then leave myself feeling really unclear about what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing is who can you trust? Who knows what they're talking about? There's a lot of people that are, I hate to say it, but they're just using AI tools to answer questions. And it's you don't even know the process that AI is using to get to that answer. And then when you're asked, well, how did you get there? The folks are let me ask AI. Right? So be careful, watch out, right? And the newsletter, I got to bring it back, right? Because
do it quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly maybe.
We'll still eat it up.
Maybe. I was thinking of doing it either I do weekly or nothing. And that was really my decision point. And I decided I can't do weekly. So maybe I go back to monthly, try weekly but shorter. I don't know. Well, all I needed was just a little bit of signal, right, from you. So Teryn, thank you so much. This has been awesome. It's just refreshing that I actually do a little bit of my own customer research with this episode. Yeah. So Teryn is on LinkedIn. I'll include a link. She's building something awesome. Edlight, if you want to check it out, it's edlight.com. And you're great, Teryn.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Loved working with you and just excited for your growth and love you guys.
Awesome. Love you too. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Building with Buyers. New episodes drop weekly, so make sure you're following wherever you get your podcasts. You can find me on LinkedIn, Anna Furmanov. Visit my website to learn more about how to turn customer insights into positioning and messaging your buyers will understand, furmanovmarketing.com. And don't forget to leave a review if you're loving the show.